Hey everyone, I'm going to be talking about the SWOT analysis that MTSU Athletics put together in their 2025 strategic plan. I'm just going to give my opinion on it, 5 years later. Some of the strengths, the plan listed things like MTSU's strong academic reputation, which is, a huge plus for the university when talking about, bringing in athletes and stuff like that. And they do have a history of athletic success in a lot of different sports, especially in conference play and conference championships. And they have a great location near Nashville that they're able to, pull from a lot of, because of that, Nashville's just a growing city in so many different ways, so that also works to their advantage. And I agree with all that. Being close to Nashville gives us a visibility and better chances for corporate partnerships. And plus, programs like basketball and football have had strong moments that help build the brand up. Talking about some weaknesses, budget limitations, aging facilities, and inconsistent community engagement were some of the things that were kind of listed and talked about or hinted at. And I think all those points are very fair. Compared to Power 5 schools, the funding gap is pretty obvious. We don't raise money as well as, certain schools, such as, SEC schools or something like that. And that all goes back to boosters and stuff. And that, that hurts in recruiting and facilities and stuff like that. And so we've seen attendance fluctuate, which kind of makes it harder to build consistency and energy within the programs. But some opportunities that I saw that they pointed out, we're tapping into the Nashville market more, kind of like to help boost ticket sales and make the actual game day experience a lot more exciting. And that is huge, in my opinion, because Nashville is going to continue to grow. And if MTSU can stand out in that market, while making games fun and engaging, I think it could bring a lot more fans and money and help build a, kind of a excitement within the program. Now, some threats that were discussed is, rising costs, because, everything continues to get more expensive as the years go on. Conference instability being, just how often Conference USA specifically is changing. I know we got 2 members this year, 2 new members, and, we're losing a couple members next year. So that also makes it hard because, you don't get to have as many rivalries with stuff like that. And just a lot of competition from other teams. You got Vanderbilt, you got University of Tennessee, you got the Predators, and you got the Titans. So there is a lot of that going on as well. The sports scene in Nashville is very crowded. And changes in NCAA rules and media deals make it hard for a program like MTSU to keep up on pace with a program like Vanderbilt or Tennessee, and obviously it's difficult for them to compete with professional teams like the Titans and the Predators. Looking back, 5 years later, I think a lot of progress has been made. The main one sticking out to me would be the $60+ million football facility that was built. I think that's a huge game changer in terms of bringing people in and also bringing fans and getting them excited about, hey, look at this new building that we built. Not a lot of other teams at our level have this, but we do. The athletic department has pushed harder also with social media and game day promotions. Even walking around on campus, I see stuff all the time. It's like for instance, this week we got Marshall, last week we had Nevada. I think it's just very I'll see signs and posters and stuff like that about tailgating and, hey, come to this and you'll get this. So there is a lot of that going on, which is great. Now, budget challenges and attendance are still problems. Just playing at a lower conference level, there's always going to be budget problems because you just don't raise as much money with, network deals and TV stuff and all that. And attendance is still a problem. It's not as if, we do not have a top stadium in our conference or anything like that. And so it is still more difficult to get fans engaged and, actually get those attendance numbers up. And the crowded Tennessee sports market hasn't gotten easier. If anything, it's actually more competitive now with, the Tennessee Volunteers and the, Vanderbilt. also growing in the competition over the years as they've gotten better as well. But mainly, I think the SWOT or the SWOT analysis was pretty accurate. We've made a lot of improvements in terms of facilities and all that. Some problems still stay the same, as like money being the main one, and fan engagement also being another one. Moving forward, I think that finding new revenue streams and keeping fans invested will be critical to continue the program rising on the way it is right now. But yeah, I think it was a very accurate analysis, and I think they did a good job.